Tamara Zoner.
And I'm John Davis.
Welcome to Spirit Cafe.
Come in, sit down, and
grab a cup of love.
A Spirituality Without the Guilt podcast.
Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have a guest. Her name is Tamara, and she has a YouTube channel that is brand new, and she also co-hosts with John from Spiritual Cafe. And I brought her on because she's so interesting, and I love to bring new people onto my channel and give them a quote-unquote interview so people can get to know them. Now, they offered me this on the Spiritual Cafe, so if anybody wants to go check that out, I did do a video with them. I had so much fun. I was laughing the whole time. I think we all were laughing the whole time. I gave some promptu readings, and it really went well, thank goodness, because doing it live is scary, but I did it. We all did it. And so I just want to introduce you to you, and if you would like to go ahead and tell us what your how to get a hold of you, if you do any readings, what do you do on your channel? Yeah, promote. So go for it.
Thank you, Sheila. So I'm Tamara Zoner. I don't do readings per se, but when I work with clients one-on-one, things come through and I share that with them. My channel is Tamara Zoner, so that's pretty easy. It's a fairly unique name. I think there's only one other in the whole world with my name. And I am actually a speaker and a coach, and where I focus is on passion, purpose, and meaning and happiness. So I'm helping people to get really clear on what they want their lives to look and feel like, and then giving them the tools to actually create that. And along the way, I work with them to help them trust their own inner voice and that own inner wisdom and listening in for divine guidance.
Oh, beautiful. So much is needed of that. Mm-hmm. I know when I do readings myself, I also have that, trust, speak to spirit, have spirit guide you, all of that. So this is just wonderful. And this is really what we're needing on the other side of the tumultuous 4 to 5 years that we've been through in our own country politically, right? So yes. We, on the other side of that, is how we all the light workers start to move forward in this world. And I think you really do. I've watched a lot of your videos, and you really do get to the point of just being enthralled and a visionary for my life going forward. So I really appreciate them wholeheartedly. So thank you for that for sure. So I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
This is the fun part for me. What journey have you taken to end up in the metaphysical life?
Aren't we all just already in it? I think that is part of the journey, right? Is this metaphysical life and maybe opening up to it. And I feel like that was and is a part of my journey. I was raised very Catholic, which is why John and I ended up gelling and deciding to do Spirit Cafe, because we wanted to talk about spirituality, but without the guilt and dogma of religion, right? And so being raised Catholic, there was the very strict guidelines of what you were supposed to believe or not, and what was right about religion and spirituality and what was wrong. And it was so limited. And at the same time, my mom has psychic gifts. And so while she's, going through her very serious Catholic phases, and then some years where she was a little more laid back, she would have premonitions and dreams. She was the one in the family who always knew when somebody was pregnant and what they were having. I remember once when we were very young, my aunt, who was a teacher in Oregon, a student had gone missing, and my mom dreamed of the location. And it just, so all of these different things, I'm like, okay, so we're Catholic, but we get to have this open, expansive spiritual side too. And so none of us blinked if we knew who was on the other end of the phone, or even if we knew the phone was ringing before it rang, all of those kinds of quirky little things. And then when I was 18 or 19, I went to California to visit family. My mom's from California. I'm in Michigan. And I found a book on my grandmother's bookshelf called Clan of the Cave Bear. And I took it with me to camp. We would go camping in the Sequoia National Forest.
What was the book again? So the people.
Clan of the Cave Bear.
Clan of the Cave Bear. Okay.
By Jean M. All. And in this book, it's about this little girl who gets separated from her people and found by Neanderthals. And they raise her. And they're, in the book, a very spiritual people with totems and talking to nature. And it just jarred something loose in me when I read this book and saw totems and animal spirits. And it was so amazing. And I thought, spirituality can be more. Spirituality can be something more than they teach in a church, in a building. And that opened me. And that is where I kind of began my spiritual exploration. And in university, studied all different world religions and spiritual, Buddhism isn't really a religion per se. Nobody has to worship anybody in that, but like, you have Buddha behind you. I do. Buddha all around me.
And I always call it Buddha as an attitude.
Yeah, it is. It's a way of being that really, when I get to the core of what spirituality is for me, it's about being a good human and tuning in to why I'm here.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely. I think there's always those one moments that really just spark your interest or ignite the thirst for more spirituality. And definitely. Reading that book. So absolutely. Mine came usually via tower moments, but that's a whole other video. Another question is do you have a mentor or a favorite teacher that you would like to share with us?
Oh, yes. I've had so many amazing mentors over the years, especially in the last 10, as I've really solidly put my feet on my path. And the first one that really opened my world up to the work I do now was a woman I met at a networking event when I was doing something completely different. I was doing at-home wine tastings, and I went to this women's networking event and sat down to this lovely lady, and we exchanged business cards, and hers said certified passion test facilitator. And I didn't know what that was, but I had full body chills and this full body knowing that I needed to pay attention. And her name is Michelle, and she's been a mentor and friend ever since. So she took me through the passion test. She got me signed up to become a certified facilitator of the passion test. And that just blew my heart open. Wow. And literally changed my world. That's the work I do on clarity, to get really, really clear on what you want life to look and feel like, and then how to align your life with the things that matter the most to you, so that every day just becomes so joyful and fulfilling and meaningful. And Michelle led me to the next mentor, which was Janet Ray Atwood, who actually wrote the book, The Passion Test, and who I trained with to become a certified facilitator. And so she is just one big bubble of love. And I felt like I resonated so much with her energy. It felt like mine. And it's pretty rare. I'm a very big spirit, lots of love, big heart. Like, I just embrace everybody I meet. And I don't meet a lot of people who feel like the energy that I give to the world. And Janet does. And it was just like, ooh, she's like me. And I'm like her. And I stood up one of the days to practice presenting a portion of the passion test workshop. And when I sat down, Janet looked at me and she said, "This is your dharma." And I said, "I know."
It's always
Yeah.
nice to have confirmations, especially from teachers, right?
Yeah, it really is. The people that we admire and respect and really want to kind of be like, right?
Oh, fantastic. Wonderful. I'm gonna have to check that out. The
Mhm.
passion test, huh?
The passion test. Yeah,
No, you just I just had a whole bunch of visions of us doing a class on my channel, and you are my facilitator for the passion test.
Oh, I love this vision.
I know. So it'll come to fruition now that it's out there.
Right. Awesome.
All right. So the next one is, what was your most painful lesson?
Mm.
You don't have to you don't have to expose your life, but you know what I mean? Maybe the essence of it is it's up to you, of course.
Absolutely. I speak for a living, so I do typically expose my life within reason. This one took me a long time to learn. So I call myself a relentless optimist. And I am really one of the most positive and optimistic people I've ever known. And I have so much faith in humanity and in people. My good friend Shannon calls me an innocent because, as I near what might be midlife, I am still an idealist. I still believe that, good humans far outnumber the not so good ones. And I just have a real belief in love and goodness and positive change, that anybody can positively change, and that I'm a really good influence on people. I always have been. And maybe couldn't recognize it or say it as easily as I can now after doing quite a bit of personal development work and spiritual work. But I'm a darn good influence on people. And most people in my very presence will shift forward in their lives. And yet, my now ex-husband never did. And I remember so many years thinking to myself, well, he's with me. He'll have to be nicer. He'll have to get more conscious. He'll just in my presence. That's what happens. And he never ever did. And so the hard, painful lesson for me was learning that some people won't change. Not everyone actually wants to. And in fact, the biggest insight I had from it, and this took me years to really get to, is that some people actually choose to come to this physical being, this earth, and be static and be that constant to provide us an opportunity to gauge our own growth against.
Right. Right.
So it was a long, painful lesson, but a worthy one. Yeah.
I always call them, I had to resolve my own inner being to accept that there's agitators out here.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
agitators. And I completely agree. It's a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
is.
So how do you receive your information from spirit? A lot of people have an explanation how they do it. How is your best avenue? And how did you get there?
I didn't know for a long time. I just knew I knew things. And every time I'd talk to a psychic, I was just like, yeah, I already know all this. Tell me something new. So it's very much a knowing. And then as I've started working directly with clients the past 5 years, I'll hear things. So I don't have sight visions. I will hear resources. Like I'll get a book title that I know that I have to share with them, or just a certain question. I'll feel guided to ask a certain question. So sometimes it feels like, I've been told, channeling. I haven't fully owned that yet, but it very much feels like channeling. I just know, like, things come through me. It's not me. I'm almost moved out of the way, and wisdom and information comes through me. And when I'm sure you're aware of it because you probably experience this, but there's this sensation that comes over me that's not me. It's more of me. It's more of all that I am, and it's more of all that is. And it's just either a knowing or specific words.
I agree with you. And I think what I'm hearing you say is it comes through with the feeling of love, and that's how you know that it's not you.
Yes, it's this very big presence. And I feel like I'm being embraced as I'm embracing my clients or groups that I'm running. And it's as if my ego mind steps out of the way and says, this, you have no right to judge. Just step aside and say
Yes.
what is coming through to you.
This is true. Yeah, and then believing that that's what it's coming through. I agree. It's
Yes.
like it's sprinkled with love, with
Yeah.
a knowing that you're doing the right thing.
And I
That
think for me,
element.
it has to be in love or it wouldn't come through.
True.
You know, if I'm feeling closed or contracted or angry or frustrated, I don't get anything.
Right.
But when I purposefully open myself, then anytime I need a little extra, it's there for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with that. When I'm angry with something or someone, um, revenge is an option, and I think this is not where I should be.
Mm-mm.
When my options are starting to digress, digress. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So,
Yes.
yep, I totally agree with that. So what is your idea of a higher power or God?
Mm. It's funny because John and I talk about this every week on Spirit Cafe, and we'll say whatever you believe in, the universe or God or whatever, or the yada yada. So we've come to joking and calling it the yada yada. But when I boil it down for myself, and when clients ask, it is love. It is the absolute pure presence of love and this expansiveness of love, where there is no beginning and there is no end. There is no point to point to. It just is. And I believe that we all get to believe whatever we want to. And in the end, as long as we are being good human beings, then we'll be rewarded in whatever form of afterlife we believe in. If that's reincarnation, if that's a heaven, if that's something else, whatever you believe, I believe is what is in store for you.
Very true. And here's a question. The final question here is, if you came across somebody who was lacking in love, spirituality, and anything that we experience on a regular basis, how would you explain to them what they're doing right here, right now, can improve at that moment? What would you tell them?
Sheila, first I would ask them if what they're experiencing is what they want and what they believe is possible for them. Because I don't believe we can change anyone who isn't open to change. And they won't hear any message if they're plugging their ears. And I've often in recent years come to know that I'm a bridge. So I don't live completely in the metaphysical world, and I don't live completely grounded. But what I do is hold out my hand and invite people to cross over and experience a fuller life experience. And so for someone who is out of love, first I simply reflect the love that I see within them to them. And what they think they're seeing is me as a loving being. And after a little while, I get to say, guess what? What you're seeing is already within you, or you wouldn't see it. So here's this vision of love that you see from me, but I can only reflect what's already there in you. So congratulations. That's the first step into a more loving and joyful, fulfilling life experience.
Oh, thank you. That was absolutely beautiful. And I sure do appreciate you being here with me. And I feel the love from you. I know that somebody had told me one time that you you can only feel the capacity of love from somebody else's as much as you have in your own body. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what you were talking about, that reflection.
Yeah.
And it really set close to me is like, if I'm with somebody who says they're ultra loving and I can't feel that, then it's my void
Mhm.
that needs to be opened up in order so that I can feel that. I was so often taught that if you can't feel it, it's not true. I was like, no, there's something to that.
Mhm.
So you perfectly explained that, and I truly appreciate that. And everybody, you'll need to go to her channel and
Hey.
experiencing all of these things that she talks about on a daily, almost a daily basis. So you get a
4
look,
times a week.
a video of her talking this spirituality way of life, and also, of course, on the spiritual cafe with John, who was just lovely. And they not only interview people that we already know in the metaphysical YouTube world, but they're also bringing in new ideas and new people into get to know. So I think that is wonderful. So thank you. Is there anything else you would like to end us with? Anything that you would love to tell somebody, or the end thought that you like to give to anybody?
Sure. I always love to let people know that even though we all turn to teachers and guides and mentors and gurus, really the most important and the ultimate resource that any one of us has is ourselves. So you are your most important resource. All of the answers are within, and all that's required is for you to get quiet enough to hear them.
Absolutely. What a beautiful note to end on. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. You guys have a wonderful day.